WVTT is the news station that brings you news and information that you can depend on. We are first, fast, and accurate, bringing you the only local television news in the Twin Tiers. WVTT, depend on it.
Extremely warm, near record-breaking temperatures early today, but Alexa, it is going to be dropping and fast.
I know, it felt like spring today. Tomorrow, it'll definitely feel like December.
Absolutely. Low temperature overnight, just 34 degrees with those isolated showers that are around right now, possibly turning into snowflakes. A little bit more snow tomorrow as well. Complete weather details straight ahead here on WVTT.
Now, WVTT. Global News Update.
In Japan, the race for who will be that country's next prime minister now underway in earnest. Candidates are seeking to become Japan's 7th prime minister in just 6 years. It's now the first official day of campaigning ahead of the December 16th election. CNN's Alex Zolber is in Tokyo, gives us some insight on the candidates.
It's just a 12-day election campaign, but there's still plenty to argue about. Japan's economy, mired in recession, shrank 3.4% at the last reading and is widely expected to decline further. Corporate giants have been outmaneuvered by foreign competitors and hammered by a strong yen. The country's also grappling with rising debt and an aging workforce. Then there is Japan's biggest reconstruction effort since World War II, the ongoing cleanup from the earthquake and tsunami in March of last year. Hundreds of thousands of people are heading into another frigid winter, still without permanent homes. And on the subject of energy, there's debate over whether Japan should give up nuclear power following the Fukushima disaster. It's a contentious issue, just one dividing line between Prime Minister Noda, who wants to phase it out, and opposition leader Shinzo Abe, who says it should stay on the table. In terms of foreign policy, with heightened tensions in recent months, there's also the question of how to deal with China. Prime Minister Noda's purchase of disputed islands incensed Beijing. But Shinzo Abe is viewed by many as being even more nationalistic. Either way, like any election, there's sure to be plenty of political wrangling in the coming weeks. Neither of the two leading parties is set to gain a majority on December 16th. With 6 prime ministers in 6 years, the smaller parties will likely play a key role in deciding who will be next in line. Whoever it is, they'll have plenty on their plate. As one newspaper headline puts it, you could call Japan a country lost in transition. So many prime ministers in such a relatively short period of time with so much work to be done. Now the final countdown is on to Election Day, December 16th. Alex Zolbert, CNN, Tokyo.
There are troubling new signs out of Syria. Intelligence suggests Syrian forces may be preparing to use chemical weapons on its own people. Mary Ellen Hopkins has the story.
A U.S. official says, according to intelligence obtained over the weekend, Syrian forces began mixing 2 chemicals needed to make deadly sarin gas. President Obama issued a stern warning to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad.
I want to make it absolutely clear to Assad and those under his command, the world is watching. The use of chemical weapons is and would be totally unacceptable.
U.S. officials are concerned that with fighting moving closer to Damascus, the Assad regime may be getting desperate and could use chemical weapons to try to crush the rebellion. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton says if Assad goes down that road, there will be consequences.
This is a red line for the United States. I'm not going to telegraph in any specifics what we would do in the event of credible evidence that the Assad regime has resorted to using chemical weapons against their own people. But suffice it to say, we are certainly planning to take action if that eventuality were to occur.
U.S. officials say Assad could use artillery shells filled with sarin to push back opposition forces. Sarin is 500 times more deadly than cyanide. 1 drop can kill a person in a matter of minutes. I'm Mary Ellen Hopkins reporting.
You probably already know the tragedy hit the Kansas City Chiefs over the weekend. One of their own dead in a murder-suicide. New information out tonight. George Howell has the update.
The Kansas City Chiefs are mourning the loss of a fellow teammate today. Police say 25-year-old linebacker Jovan Belcher shot and killed himself in a parking lot at Arrowhead Stadium after murdering his girlfriend.
When the officers arrived, when they were pulling up, they actually observed a black male who had a gun to his head, and he was talking to a couple of coaches out in the parking lot. As officers pulled up and began to park, that's when they heard the gunshot, and it appears the individual took his own life.
Just 20 minutes prior to his suicide, Belcher shot his girlfriend several times at her home. Police say she died a short time later at a local hospital.
We heard that they had been arguing in the past. As far as recently, they've been arguing before the shooting occurred this morning.
The team later released a statement on the shooting saying, quote, "We can confirm that there was an incident at Arrowhead earlier this morning. We are cooperating with the authorities in their investigation." Belcher played all 4 seasons of his NFL career with the Chiefs. He had his best season last year with a career high of 120 tackles. The Chiefs are still scheduled to play at home Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. I'm George Howell reporting.
Another day, another drop on the big board. Let's take a look at WVTT's Wall Street Wrap-Up. It's brought to you by News Radio 96.7 WVTT. We had a 14-point drop in the Dow today to close at 12,952. NASDAQ dropped 6 points, closing at 2997, and the S&P 500 dropped 3 to close at 1407. Still to come on the 6 o'clock report, WVTT Sports. We'll also take a look at our community calendar and a warm to cold forecast. Details straight ahead on News Channel 25 WVTT.